show. I am your host, Joe Musil, along with Jason DeCarolis, Coachy. Happy New Year, Merry Christmas. This is our first show of the year in the new year of 2021. 2020 is gone. Hopefully it doesn't hopefully this year is better. Hopefully
we threw it out the window.
We threw it out the window. We threw this out. But here, what do you think, Coachy? What do you got for 2021?
I'm hoping this after 2020, it really started in March. It really didn't kick for the first 2 months. We were fine, and then we started going downhill. And then we know, of course, once we started having this one COVID-19 virus, then everybody started to panic. Toilet paper was going, paper towels they were hoarding, and
Yeah, we didn't have paper towels until at least I think September or August. Yeah, September. It was a tough season. It was.
Yep. And sports took the pause from March when the NBA and NHL took its pause on March 12th, and I think baseball.
That was March 11th.
Was it March?
Yep.
The NBA was March 11th, or was it hockey that went March 11th? Hockey waited the next day.
Yeah, the hockey waited the next day. I think March 11th started everything, where everything just paused.
Shut down everything. Then baseball. Yep. During the spring training games, everybody was told that it's like we need to stop the game and go home and stop where we were. And then, of course, hockey went 139 days without a game. Basketball went about 150-something days. Baseball never really got going for about almost 200 days. And
yep.
The only thing that started normal on time was football, but yeah, we're still getting all these reports of people not playing again and stuff. Even like a couple teams this year, like Tennessee and Baltimore, got hit the hardest of the two. Yes, New England had it too, and they had to miss a game, but those two teams got hit the hardest. I think the one team that really didn't have a COVID problem, I hate to say it, but it was really the New York Jets all the way up until this point.
Yeah, the New York Jets. We'll talk about the New York Jets in a little while.
Yeah, we'll talk about now the 2-game winning streak. But
yeah, if that's a good idea or not. But
yup.
2020 is just over for now. Hopefully the vaccine is coming. Hopefully that solves most of the problems. Everything starts getting back to normal. The NBA is starting strong.
This is day 10 for the NBA season.
Yep. And what are you doing, Coachy? You're going to feed your fish?
Yep, just did.
Oh, all right. Feed the fish. I can't. We can't see your fishy. How many fish you got now? Did they die?
No. Well, I got fish donated last week.
Oh, nice. Donation fish?
So, yeah, I got a couple new ones.
Okay.
Not only because they had so many in their fish tanks, so they decided to give them away for free, so I got lucky.
Yeah, okay.
So I got 1, 2, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I think I got 13 in there right now.
13 fish? Okay, that's a pretty good school.
Yes, they're all eating, but the best advice, whenever you get new fish, don't put the water into the tank after the fish have been in that water in a bag, or otherwise it's going to be a chemical situation, and then they'll kaput. So, anyway.
Good fish advice.
Our first topic today is I want to talk about the college football semifinals that I was able to watch yesterday because Joe got to see highlights. But I'll give you a little bit of a review of both games. The first game was Notre Dame and Alabama.
I heard that was a run fest.
It was a run and shoot fest, basically. Notre Dame didn't really have an answer because once the play was over, they were almost like, the whole team knows how to hustle, get ready for the next play. Yep. Even sometimes they try and get the other team to have 12 men in their huddle and get an illegal substitution penalty. So, but at first, though, Notre Dame, when they scored and made it 14-7, I said, okay, good. What are you going to respond for defense? They didn't have an answer for defense because Alabama marched right down the field again. One of the plays they had, their running back, I can't remember his name, But and I can't stand it when they do this, is hurdle over players. I
Yeah,
can't
I heard he went.
stand that.
I heard he went for 53 yards
It was
after
a
that.
53-yard game, yes, but I got to tell you, he wasn't touched. He hurdled over him, and the first thing, when you ever see that, Joe,
Yeah.
the first thing you think of when you try and make a hurdle like that, you go airborne and you land wrong, you're going to break your neck.
Break your neck, you tore your ligaments or something like that. I mean, it's an all or nothing. It is a great play. It is a show of athleticism and stuff like
Yep.
that, but it's a risk, but guaranteed him hurdling that player, that's going to be shown forever for like 330 years from
Absolutely.
now.
Absolutely.
Hurdling that play.
Yeah. Hold on a sec, Joe. I'm just getting word that the head coach for the University of Texas, Tom Herman, just got fired.
Oh, okay.
So that just came across the screen. But yeah, in high school, you're not allowed to hurdle over a player.
Wow.
You can't.
College and pros, you can pretty much do it.
High
Whatever.
school, you can't.
Yeah.
They won't let you. That's a penalty.
Yeah.
But. But as the game was going on, Alabama just kept on marching right down the field, and Notre Dame was competitive for most of the game. And yes, their offensive lineman was up for an award, but my thing was Notre Dame is running with 3 tight ends and not really many wide receivers on that team. They're relying on other tight ends to make catches. Yes, a tight end in football on offense, I say, is probably the most difficult position, almost second most difficult. Quarterback's number 1, but tight end is number 2 because you can make a block and you can make a catch.
Yeah, finding good tight ends, especially example for New England when they had their two tight end package, with Gronk and Aaron Hernandez. I mean, that could be. They're hard because they sit inside the tackles and outside, and they can go flag pattern. They can cross to the goalpost. I mean, their speed. If you get a 6'6" tight end, their size on a linebacker is so much. I mean, it's just imposing. It's just. It's the size and the speed too. If you put a slower corner on them, it's just over because they can reach right over the top. When you get a good tight end, it is an awesome weapon.
Absolutely. And I see some of these tight ends who actually play in college football who are about 300 pounds, but yet they have the muscle and built to do it.
Yep. I mean, the evolution of the tight end really began maybe about 10 years ago. The evolution of the tight end.
The tight ends were just basically used as a blocker, and maybe you'll make 1, 2, or 3 catches back in the day. But here's another example. This year in the college bowl games, you have tight ends that have only made like 2, 3 catches the whole year. There's a couple that I've seen that have made 6, 7 catches, have maybe 1 or 2 touchdowns, or even 3 touchdowns in a game.
Yep.
I'm impressed.
I'm impressed by that too. It's really the evolution of the tight end. I believe it's the power forwards of the NBA, players that don't want to go play in the NBA but want to go play in the NFL. They become tight ends. The 6'7", 6'8" guys, they can see that they have the athletic ability. They outmatch their opponents.
And in the sport of hockey too, we do have some players who are pretty tall. I mean, I believe Zdeno Chara is still the tallest at 6'9", but it's not. It's like in football, you're wearing those pads. You're a tight end doing everything. It's like NBA, same thing. You may have a center like Shaquille O'Neal was when he was 330 pounds, or you got a hockey player that's wearing a size 16, 17 skate because you're that tall.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But you don't really see in the NBA the non-traditional power forward like you do it. I believe they transferred out of that, and
even with the centers now, Joe, same thing. Their centers are basically just there to make rebounds sometimes. Yes, score points in the paint when you have to, or try to hope you can, exit with 2 quick fouls in the game early.
Yeah, or the centers are 7 feet tall, then they can shoot threes and stuff like that. But there's no real traditional power forward. Tim Duncan was pretty much the last one
Yeah,
to
he
actually
was.
be the back to the basket,
Now
fundamentally
it's really
sound.
Anthony Davis's turn that's doing all that now.
Yeah, but Anthony Davis does take his game to the 3-point line a little bit more than Tim Duncan ever did. And his back to the basket is not as good as Tim Duncan.
Right. Yep.
But,
But yeah, so at the end of
about
the day with that Alabama Notre Dame game, Notre Dame just didn't really have an answer, and Alabama really cruised through it. But they have a very good wide receiver, Devonta Booker. I've heard great things about this guy. Is he going to go to the NFL? Is he going to go to the NFL draft? I don't know. It all depends how it all goes with him. I mean, like another one, which I'll talk to you about in a minute. Be careful how you do this when you go to the NFL draft. Don't go after your freshman or sophomore year. I have no problem if you go after your junior year. I don't have a problem with that. I do have a problem if you do leave after you're only there for 1 or 2 years. That's telling me you're not developing. And yes, it goes for college basketball too, Joe. I have the same thing.
well, development of a football player is different than a development of a basketball player. I mean, basketball players, if you're like LeBron and you're developed like that, you can go right to the pros. You have the physical body and you can bang with the big boys.
Yeah,
But
well, a couple
football,
years ago, the league and the NBA decided, you have to play at least 1 year of college. Guess
yeah,
how long that lasted? Not too long, because now it's back to you can go right in after high school.
you sure about that?
Or maybe, or no. Well, this year they got to, because when the NCAA tournament was, I think that was different this year. I think the rule goes back into play this coming season.
Yeah.
But I know last year they were able to leave right from high school to the pros because of the pandemic.
Yep, yeah, because of the pandemic, yeah.
Okay, that's just for that 1 year.
Yeah,
okay.
I believe so.
Okay. Go ahead.
But yeah, I mean, the football player's body needs to be conditioned for the NFL. I mean, it does take 2 years to develop that. I mean, the strength, the physical, the mental part of actually being in the NFL does take 2 years for a college player to develop that. I mean,
right.
I don't know if any college player could actually just go right to the NFL and be dominant or anything like that. But the NBA players, yeah, they can, because if you're dominating and stuff like a LeBron James, you can go right to the NBA. I mean, his body was conditioned for it and stuff. So, yeah. I mean, it's just for football, it's different. It is different.
Yeah, absolutely. So the second game, that started to be a little bit of a shootout in the first quarter. Trevor Lawrence got off to a hot start.
Yeah.
But then here's what changed the whole game, and you might have seen this, Joe. Clemson had a player ejected for targeting. It was the linebacker, but it was not helmet to helmet. He led the crown of his helmet toward the Ohio State's quarterback right in the ribs.
Okay.
Last night.
Yeah,
and I will get you the name of it right now while I'm here.
But we can talk about Trevor Lawrence.
That's coming to in the segment we are now.
He did have a pretty
Justin
good game.
Fields, by the way.
Yep. Trevor Lawrence had like about 400 yards passing.
Yeah,
one interception. He
still had a decent game, but unfortunately, Ohio State was a better team, and they just came prepared.
Yeah.
And you have to understand something too, Joe. Ohio State was not even supposed to be here because the Big Ten Conference made rules that you had to play six games in order to qualify for a bowl game or something like that. But then once Ohio State went to 5-0, guess what? They cried wolf.
Yeah. They did.
And I knew the Big Ten was going to wind up giving in because the question that was all about money on this one.
It is. It was. Yes.
Because what happens if they said no? How many people at Ohio State was going to start petitioning?
I think the whole state of Ohio would start petitioning.
Well, it depends, though. Remember, Ohio State is not the whole entire College of Ohio, unfortunately. But
yeah, but they all love their Ohio State.
I know, but
yep.
But the way it went last night, they wound up finishing 49-28, I believe the score was.
Yeah, I think so.
So now you have a pretty good matchup, Ohio State and Alabama. And I talked to my father about what Ohio State is. They have two true freshmen on their defensive backfield, which they're pretty fast.
Yeah,
they are. Can they hold on to it against Alabama on January 11th? I can think so because the spread, by the way, is only Alabama's an 8-point favorite as of this morning when the opening line came out last night. But Ryan Day in his second year as head coach at Ohio State, congratulations. Glad you're getting your experience.
Yeah.
Now you're going up against one of the best college football head coaches, not of course in the whole world, but
I think in the whole world, Nick Saban's.
Yeah, Nick Saban knows what he's doing. I mean, yeah. Given his 1 year he had in the pros, forget about it.
Yeah.
With the Miami Dolphins, and then he booked after week 16. He missed the last game of the season so he can go become the next coach at Alabama. And now he's going for his seventh title.
Yeah, it's been good.
Which is unheard of. But you know what? Which is good about the program. They've really stayed out of trouble. I mean, they've had some incidents where a guy got arrested for having a handgun or something like that. But for the most part, that program's been pretty clean. They've really never gotten into trouble with the NCAA or anything like that. Nick Saban will never have any of that.
Well, no, he runs a good program and stuff. He produces very good running backs for the NFL.
And quarterbacks.
He's starting to develop more quarterbacks now. But at first one he started developing was running backs. I mean, he's done that very well.
Even wide receivers, Julio Jones, he was at Alabama. Yep. How much success he was, even though the last 2 years he's been hanged up by hamstring injuries.
But yeah, so if you want to be a star player and be in the spotlight, go to Alabama and
and you better do it right, because if you do something wrong, Nick Saban's going to throw you out.
Yep. But if you do everything right, you get the NFL attention, you get everything else, you get the TV attention, and you become a star if you do it right.
Yeah, but now here's my other thing. Texas A&M, I feel bad for him.
Yeah.
In the championship, I would say yes, because Notre Dame got killed by Clemson in the ACC.
By Alabama, and Clemson.
Yeah, that's the ACC championship game. We're past the semifinals now.
Yeah.
Should Texas A&M absolutely be in the championship game? Yes, but you know what? For a consolation prize, you're playing a nice, surprising North Carolina team.
Yeah, they are, and what are they? More than a touchdown favorite, probably, for that game. I think
so. And it's the Orange Bowl, and I think that game is tonight. So
tonight, but we'll see what they can do. I don't think they'll disappoint and have North Carolina beat them or anything.
No, I don't think so either.
Maybe
today's really the last day of these bowl games until the championship game on the 11th.
Yeah, I know. Whole bunch of bowl games. Most teams just.
Yeah, I know. Well, don't forget too. You also got the college basketball. That's conference play is starting, but I do want to talk to you about something.
Okay.
The Duke women's basketball program. You might have heard about this.
All right. What do we got?
They opted out for the rest of the season.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Opted out for their whole season.
They opted out because they've only played like 5 games, and then they had not played a game since December 16th. And then, of course, I found out who the head coach was, and I heard about this. Kara Lawson took over at the Duke program, but now I guess they were saying it was getting too risky, starting to get a little interesting, and she went to talk to the athletic director and said, you know what, we can't continue. So they were the first college program that
Opted out for the
opted
women.
out for the
Yep.
season. Yep. Yeah, I'm
Well,
not sure if you heard about that, Joe, or not, because I heard
no.
about this like about maybe a week and a half ago or 2 weeks.
It must have went up on my ESPN notifications,
Yeah, it was
and I
up on my
didn't.
ESPN app. I did read that, and I said, and I alerted my aunts right away, and I said, "Ooh, Duke's opting out." I said, "Ooh, okay." So
Yeah, well, it's hard. Finding teams this year to actually play a college basketball season. Uh,
right.
you take like 1 week and then you probably won't be playing another game for another 3 weeks or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Well, some of the teams today, I guess some teams had to postpone or cancel or postpone because staff members had
Saw it.
or got tested positive, and you know,
Yep. I mean, it's a lot of players, a lot of staff to control.
or wait, we had one game where it didn't play because the officials got tested positive.
And officials.
And that happened. This was this before Christmas? Yeah, this was December 23rd. Oregon was supposed to take on Washington was supposed to play UCLA that night.
Yep.
And then instead the game was delayed. I'm like, okay, why is the game delayed? And I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh well, now I know why.
Yeah, the refs got done.
I was watching the UConn men's hockey game.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I believe they beat New Hampshire last night 2-1. So the men are
doing well. The men are doing well. I mean, that's a strong team.
That was their second win of the season, but that's another power school they beat. So
yep. But I mean, these other college basketball seasons. I mean, it's not a bubble. I mean, you can't really.
It's not a bubble yet. It'll happen soon again.
It will probably, but who's going to be there in the end?
The NCAA tournaments, there will be a bubble.
Yeah, but who's going to make it? Who's going to make it to the bubble? I mean, there's schools. You can't really bubble the regular season. They're trying to bubble it, but it's too many people to control. It's too many people. Mm-hmm. And it's a high risk. It's just so much of a risk for these kids to take to play sports this year.
Yep, exactly right. So, all right, we covered that. We covered half the show already on this.
Yeah, we got about half of the show to go. So
okay, so I'll let you go ahead and talk about the NBA next. Since you've seen it for 10 days.
The NBA. Just started off. Every team's got like 4 or 5 games so far. I want to really talk about. I've seen most of the games and stuff. I've seen most of the replays. Boston looks okay. They're still fronting around with their lineup. Does Tristan Thomas, play? Does he start at forward position? But one thing I really want to don't want to see anymore, is 140-point games.
Yes, I've seen a couple of those. The other night was 130. I saw that.
Is anybody playing defense? I mean, I've watched so many basketball players, one crossover, and the dude just stands there and gets blown by. I mean, one crossover.
Feels like an all-star game.
Yeah, I know. It does feel like an all-star game. I mean, teams erase 17-point deficits in the next quarter and stuff. I mean, I grew up in the 80s and 90s where teams were rough, physical, and once you had a 17-point lead and stuff like that, you didn't come back from that. You had no chance of actually coming back for that because the team actually played some defense and kept you in check for the entire game, not for a quarter, and then a 17-point lead gets erased. And then you're scoring 140 points because nobody plays any defense. Unless in the last 5 minutes of a game, a team actually does play defense or somewhat of a defense. But that's too late, little too late to actually play play defense. It's too late.
You know what I noticed too, Joe? I'll stop you on this one for a second. Take a pause. I've noticed already that, yes, the scoring is way up, and I get that. Okay. Is it because these players didn't get enough to play in the preseason, or they didn't really practice as much, or are they just hoping these players are going to score points so they can make a career for themselves and set career records, or think you're going to become the number one person in scoring? That's my question to you.
Well, I don't think it's that. It's just teams don't play defense. I mean, one crossover and the guy's blown by, or only thing they do is shoot threes, and they go 8 for 20 in 3-point shots.
Yeah, I heard about Milwaukee was going three-born
all over the place, but
and they tied a record, I think, too. They had what 26 three-pointers?
Yeah, I think they did, or something like that.
Yeah, they tied a record. I think it was 26.
Yeah,
that's unheard of.
That's insane. I mean, there's no defensive perimeter. These guys are just jacking up threes. I mean, it's one crossover, and if there's a guy in the middle of the lane blocking that thing, it's kicked out for a three and hit. It's just there's no defensive rotations or no defense player.
Plus, there's no zone defense either. It looks like it's now back to man-to-man again.
Yeah, I mean,
I prefer zone defense. It makes it more challenging in the NBA.
True, because if you're covering a zone and a player gets blown by, you can help out a little bit better. But if you're man-to-man and you go to help, your other guy's scoring on you and stuff. I watched some of the Knicks play, and the Knicks players are okay.
I was about to ask you, how are they looking so far this year? They got a long way to go again.
They're a better team this year. Okay. They're 2-2 right now.
That's still better than where it was.
Well, I think last year or something they started 0-13 or something like that. So
yes, I remember they didn't get rid of their coach for a while.
Yeah. I think it was Tyronn Lue or something.
No, Tyronn Lue's now the head coach of the LA Clippers. He's been out of. He was an assistant with somebody Doc Rivers.
Okay. But I know the Knicks got rid of their coach real fast last year.
Oh, they had to. They didn't have a choice.
But they are.
The Knicks haven't been in the playoffs in almost 30 years now.
Well, that's Patrick Ewing's days. That's Patrick Ewing's. But yeah. I mean, the Knicks are okay. They'll probably be a 500 team in the East. And I forgot some of their stars, but I was just watching them and stuff. They move the ball up better. Their rookies are scoring very well. And, I think the Knicks will be a 500 team or around there. So,
well, at least they have the right coach in Tom Thibodeau now.
Yeah. Tom Thibodeau is actually one of the coaches that actually does teach defense. Mm-hmm. And their scores aren't as high as the other. If you look at some of their final scores, aren't as high as the other teams in the league.
Yep.
But even the Lakers are off to a slow start a little bit.
I watched them opening night. They lost to the Los Angeles Clippers.
Clippers. Yep. But they're pacing themselves. It is the regular season, so they'll pace themselves through the regular season. They just need to be there at the end to be in the playoffs.
Right.
But I saw LeBron James do a nice move on the player, and he got blocked. A Portland Trailblazer game. The guy came right from the behind. They set a pick. LeBron went to go to the basket, and then actually the player caught up to him and blocked his shot. He was not happy on that. A few years before, LeBron would have scored on that play. I think his age got to him on that play. You saw the age onto it. He saw his face on it. It's like, Oh man, I got blocked on that, and it
Yup,
usually doesn't.
absolutely.
But other teams, Orlando's off to a pretty good 4-0 start, and stuff. So, yeah, the NBA is all about scoring for the most part. I mean, if you like high-scoring all-star games, then you're going to like the NBA. But myself, I do like to see some defense more than just in the last 5 minutes of a game. Play some defense, guys. I mean,
Yup.
so yeah,
All right.
it's the NBA.
All right. Before we get into the NFL, I know we're not going to have a lot of time to talk about that because we got a lot of these sports that are coming back.
Yep.
I'll go real quick. I'm not going to talk long about hockey because we haven't started the season yet, but we are. But we haven't quite yet. The season starts on January 13th. It is a done deal. The divisions are going to be much different this year. There is no East. There is no Western Conference this year. We even have an all-Canadian division this year, which is going to be interesting.
Okay.
Meaning everybody, most of the teams in the division will be playing teams at least 8 times a year. They're not traveling out of their division this year. They're not traveling to other major cities or anything like that.
I think that's smart on the
San Jose Sharks, from what I've read, they're going to start on the road 14 of their first 18 games, but it doesn't matter anyway. All their home games are going to be played in Arizona because they have not lifted that ban on Bay Area sports yet. It's still in effect.
Yep.
They haven't really changed on it. And I don't know. I believe there's no preseason from what I've read. So this is going to be quite unique how that's going to go. There's more details to come out of this, but training camps have officially opened. And they just announced last night that there will be some outdoor hockey games out in Lake Tahoe, which, you don't hear that name very often. But
I like the outdoor games. Actually, I like
too.
watching them on
I didn't
NBC.
think we're going to have any this year, to be honest. And yes, both of them will be on NBC National.
Yep. So I actually like the outdoor hockey.
They announced it's going to be Las Vegas against Colorado on the first night, and then the second night will be Boston versus Philadelphia.
I may watch about 10 minutes of that, but that sounds good.
It all depends on the flow of the game, Joe.
Yeah.
But
if
yeah,
I'm not sleeping.
We'll be talking. We'll talk a little bit more hockey next week because, like I said, I'm not talking about it much right now because we still haven't started our season yet.
Yeah.
We will be underway before you know.
You're preparing for fantasy hockey and stuff like that?
Yeah, I have to look tonight. I've already been checking around who's going to be the top scorer last year. Well, I'm going back to Yahoo this year. It's a cash league, but I tried Fantrax. Forget it. I don't like keeping the line. You don't get to keep your lineup in. You have to keep it for a whole week. You can't make a change or anything like that. So I'm not a big fan of that.
Okay.
Even though I limped into the playoffs last year at 7-6, despite the fact I had so many injuries.
Yep.
It's so bad when you're on vacation, you're on the brink of making the playoffs, and then all of a sudden you're in a hotel room making you have to adjust all your lineups with all these players out injured for the week, and and it's hard to take zeros. So
got to Disney World before they got zonked last year.
Yeah, 1 week before it all started, by the way, when we got home.
You could have been trapped in
We
Florida.
could have been trapped down there in Florida, but we made it home just in time.
Yep.
So,
just in time.
All right, so we got about 15 minutes left, so I can get going with the NFL now.
NFL.
First team to talk about. Congratulations to the Kansas City Chiefs.
Top seed.
Very scary game, though, against Atlanta. I didn't think they were that sharp.
No, they haven't looked very sharp for
the last couple games.
For about a month.
Is long time to do this.
Yeah.
And Mahomes isn't playing tomorrow. That's already been announced.
So they're resting players. They got the top seed locked up since Pittsburgh.
Yeah, they've got it all. So it's not even worth doing it against the Chargers.
No.
Pittsburgh, I think they really should have started some of their starters instead of. Yes, I understand you're not going to get a bye. You've already got home field advantage, and you're starting Mason Rudolph.
Actually, the Bills, if the Bills win, they get second place.
Mm-hmm.
And Pittsburgh drops to third. Well,
Well, Pittsburgh
yeah.
deserves to drop because they've been absolutely horrendous. They got lucky against Indianapolis.
Yeah, I know. Indy kind of lost that game by themselves. I mean, they
Mm-hmm.
had the momentum in that game, and they just lost it. They just
Well,
actually,
another team, unfortunately, if you heard about this, the Cleveland Browns were getting ready to jump on a plane, head for New Jersey, and then all of a sudden, sorry, can't leave yet. 4 players were tested positive. Or
yeah,
5 players were tested positive, and 4 of them were wide receivers. I said, whoa, this is not good.
no, so they got zonked pretty bad, and that when they went up to who they play,
The Jets.
Jets, which we'll talk about the Jets.
That's coming up after this. But
Yep.
yeah, there was no Jarvis Landry, no Higgins.
No weapons. They were practically practice squad guys.
When Denver had those 3 quarterbacks that couldn't play, and the NFL was not going to move the game.
Yep, and they're getting zonked even more this week. They're coming up.
They still have every intention to play that game against Pittsburgh tomorrow.
Yeah,
There was another staff member this morning.
Yeah, it was a staff member, but they shut down facilities. They're not on the field. They're not practicing. They're practicing virtually.
And here's the thing: this game's got to get played.
Yep.
There's no way you can post. Cause you can move if you need to move it to a Monday or Tuesday. That's fine, but you do not want to have to move this game to a week from Sunday, and it's going to screw the whole playoffs up. If they do
that's true.
Because both teams need to play this game for seeding wise, or Cleveland. They need to win to get in.
They need to win to get in, or they're out of the playoffs.
The only team that needs something else to happen is the Indianapolis Colts need to win, and one of those 3 teams
Baltimore
needs to lose.
Yeah,
if there's any team that Indianapolis that can hope that will probably lose, it would probably be Cleveland.
Yeah, Cleveland and Baltimore need to lose for Indy to get in.
Well, or Indianapolis just needs one of those top 3 teams to get beat, I think.
I think they need both.
Yeah, but I think they need one. They need one team who's in the playoffs to get beat, and Indianapolis to win to get in. But Indianapolis can also still win the division too.
No, they can't.
They can't. Well, I didn't hear Tennessee's completely clinched yet.
I believe Tennessee as
We'll have to double check.
Yeah. All right. But
and then we have one game potentially. It looks like the Rams and the Cardinals are playing for a playoff berth tomorrow on Sunday. Because regardless what the the Bears have to win in the ring. The Bears have to win and the Rams have to lose.
Yeah.
The Rams, it's either or.
Yeah, either or. But yeah, Cleveland has to lose and Baltimore has to lose for Indy to get in. I think if Cleveland loses, Baltimore is definitely in.
Yes, Baltimore would be in regardless.
Yep. And actually Indy can still go for the 4th seed because they're 10-5 with Tennessee and 10-5 with Indy. So if Tennessee
both of those teams have easy opponents.
Yeah.
One plays Houston, one plays Jacksonville.
Well, Jacksonville.
Don't worry, they're going to lose their 15th straight.
Yeah.
They have the longest losing streak in the NFL now, so.
Yeah, they do.
Don't have to worry about that because now the Jets have won, who, by the way, now we'll talk about. Now they've won 2 in a row. Go figure.
I mean, you saw.
It's not changing the coach. He's still going at the end of the season.
I know. I understand that, but they won 2 games in a row and took themselves out of the Trevor Lawrence sweepstakes. Was that a correct decision? I mean, you need a quarterback. Is Sam Darnold a lifetime quarterback?
From what I've read, they think that he's capable of that. He can still lead the team. Okay, and the Jets are probably going to have. Well, no, the Jets may have the number 3 pick now. The way they're going right now, they may drop. Yeah, it's number 3 now.
Yeah, they may go to 3.
So you know what? If they don't draft a quarterback. Okay, you're going to give Darnold one more chance, and you better hope you have some beef to go along with it and some veteran running backs because Frank Gore's already announced he's out, and this might have been his last game he's played.
Yep. So you already took yourself, unless the Jets trade the number 2 or 3 pick for a whole bunch of draft picks and a
I
couple
don't see
players
if
to
if they do
somewhere.
that. Yeah, if they do that, then Darnold's your quarterback next year again. If they do that,
Yeah, but there's no other quarterback coming out next year in college football.
besides
Like,
Trevor Lawrence, after that, it's all wide open.
yeah, like Trevor Lawrence. You saw him for Clemson last night.
Yep.
He's a good player. He's probably arguably the
Hopefully, he doesn't do what Joe Burrow had to go through this year, losing
with an
some games
injury.
and then, of course, getting injured. That's the worst of it.
Yeah, but Joe Burrow was he was
He
improving
was,
every
he
game.
was rookie of the year until
He
Herbert
got
came
injured.
in.
Yeah, Herbert.
Herbert came in and was still going crazy, even though Burrow was playing at the time.
Yeah, Joe Burrow and Herbert are good quarterbacks. The Chargers have found a very good quarterback.
Yep.
That Herbert's probably a top 15 quarterback right now in his rookie season.
Mm-hmm. Herbert, for your fantasy football people, he may be a top 5 quarterback next year.
Yeah, he puts up stats. If he starts reading defenses a little bit better and stuff, cuts back on the interceptions, they win a lot more of those games the Chargers do.
Oh, I think it'll be a better season for LA next year, without a doubt. They have the right. They found the area with the correction. They found the right position to correct the mistakes. They found the
quarterback. They found the quarterback.
That's number one. You can pencil out getting another quarterback because they're set.
Yeah, they're set.
Now they need a running back with some experience,
and they can find probably a running back in a draft. You could probably find an Alabama.
They got to build around Keenan Allen, even though he's out for this game. He's got a contract through 2024. So
yeah, but
and they have their tight end Hunter Henry. They don't need to go get another tight end. You can scratch that off the list.
Yep, you can scratch a lot and maybe a few more, but you can fix those in the draft. You can fix a running back in a draft.
And that's why you're not hearing Anthony Lynn's name all this weekend about what's going to happen after Sunday, win or lose. That tells me he's safe pretty much.
You can fix your defense in a draft. If you're lucky, you can fix your wide receivers. Wide receivers are iffy.
They need more than just. Well, they got Mike Williams, but they need more than just 2.
Yeah, if you got a good scouting department, you can somewhat fix your wide receivers in that category. But they can fix that team, and that could be a playoff team next year. That could be a verge of the cusp on the edge of a playoff team.
Yep.
So,
all right, we've got like 5 minutes left, I think. So,
what do we got? Yeah, we got about 10 minutes.
10 minutes? Okay. We can reel off players who are not playing this week. The Los Angeles Rams are banged up, and they're without one of their best receivers in the game. Cooper Kupp is out, COVID list. Darrell Henderson injured. Jared Goff had thumb surgery.
Yeah. So
they're all out. Cam Akers, we haven't heard if he's going to – it depends how his practice goes today, but Malcolm their third running back's going to wind up playing. But now Robert Woods is going to have to lead the charge.
Yeah.
But that Arizona Rams game to me, I think is the game where someone's going to clinch a playoff berth and someone is not.
Well, whoever wins or loses there clinches. I think goes for
the playoffs.
Yeah.
Here's your NFC East thing.
Giants,
the Cowboys. Yeah. Listen to this.
Yeah.
The winner of that game.
Yeah.
Has to probably sit at their homes or sit in a hotel and watch Washington play Philadelphia on a Sunday night. I was not thinking we were going to have a Sunday night football game, but
yeah, that couldn't happen. But yep. But if Washington wins, they win the division.
If Dallas or the Giants win, then they have to sit it out and wait.
Yep. They do.
You know, how fun is this, the NFC East? Thank God this is going to be over with that division. This has been pathetic.
It has been. They pretty much only games they've won. I mean, the Giants upset Seattle during the season. I mean, that wasn't supposed to, and then they got clobbered by Baltimore.
And they've been clobbered since.
And Daniel Jones, he took a step forward, and
now he went backwards.
He went backwards again. But he's not going to play in the Giants game. Colt McCoy's going to play.
Oh, is he? I didn't know if Jones was not. Is Jones out for Sunday?
Jones is out for Sunday. Colt
hamstring again, or is he on the COVID?
Hamstring, I think.
Hamstring, okay. Because I know Dallas, out of all 4 teams right now, now it's the Dallas Cowboys' turn to start putting wins together now all of a sudden.
Well, you got one more win to look forward to, and then what do they finish, 6-10 or something?
Dallas would finish, I think it's it would be 6-10. Hold on.
Dallas would finish actually 7-9. 7-9.
Yep. Okay. Because the only team that's really out of it, well, no, not really. Oh, yeah, I think it is, though. The Philadelphia
Eagles are out. Eagles are out.
Eagles are out. Okay. I thought so. That tie
Eagles are eliminated. But, yeah, they would finish they would finish 7-9 or 6-10. Dallas would finish. Giants would
Washington
finish.
owns a tiebreaker on Dallas, so that's where it would come down.
Yep, and the Giants own the tiebreaker on Washington.
Yep, so if they beat Dallas, then the Giants – well, it doesn't matter. If the Giants win that, the tiebreakers don't exist. It comes down to Washington. The only thing we would worry about if it came down to if the Washington football team ties Philadelphia. Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how that would work. I believe – well, wait, I still have the standings up. Wait a minute.
I think the Giants still capture the division if that happens. If Washington ties,
I thought maybe not.
I think the
Giants have one more loss in Washington. That would be the next stat, wouldn't it?
Yeah, or the Dallas Cowboys would win it. If the Dallas Cowboys win, Dallas would win if they tie.
Oh my God, oh my God, if that happens, oh boy, this would be a mess.
Yep. So yeah.
You know, call it crazy as it is, but you know, I do want to say congrats to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They had no problem beating Detroit to make the playoffs. That was a no-brainer. New Orleans Saints, you know, they haven't clinched the number one seed yet, and they were already talking about possibly Alvin Kamara might be out for next week's game too if the Saints don't get the number 1 seed.
That's true. He may be out.
He has to be cleared. It depends on when the Saints would play next week. If it plays on a Saturday, that's trouble. If it's Sunday, they'll be okay to go if he tests negative.
Yeah, I think he has to pass 3 tests in a row or something.
No, but it doesn't matter, Joe. If the game is Saturday, he wouldn't get cleared in time.
Yep. Bummer on that.
That's going to be, you know, that's a bad situation when this happened. Tampa Bay had a couple COVID cases today, and you know, I just hope the playoffs run smooth.
Yeah, I hope so too. Hopefully we have the Super Bowl on time, but that could not.
Yeah, you never know. We have to watch all this. You know how this junk goes, so, but.
Yeah.
Oh, well, but that's a wrap.
That's a wrap. Let's see. How was 2020 for you? Let's do a wrap.
2020, the year stunk after March. 2021 is now here. Please, let's hope for the best, everybody, that everybody gets their vaccines and everything else, and hope we don't have a respike. And we will get back on the fields and stuff around here. We're hoping that everything will get squared away. If we don't, you know, like for Little League, then 2022 will definitely be back. That's
I don't think Little League will be ready.
I don't think so either.
I don't think so either.
No, you know, and there's just so much stuff that's going on. I mean, like I said, from what I heard, there's a high school winter sports meeting coming up this coming week, and to me, it doesn't look good.
Yeah.
You know, it looks like we're probably not going to have it, and it's not really worth the risk. I mean, you're not going to be able to have fans or anything, and when I
Well,
run this, if you run the score clock and stuff, all it takes is something to go wrong, and then I'm quarantined and I'm stuck for 10 days. But
yeah.
but we won't go into that detail yet. We don't
Yeah.
want to discuss that.
But yeah, 2020. With the Los Angeles winning the NBA championship,
And the Tampa Bay Lightning
Tampa Bay
winning the Stanley
Lightning
Cup.
winning the NHL championship, and the LA Dodgers winning the baseball
World
championship,
Series,
World Series.
and the Kansas City Chiefs winning the Super Bowl during when we were normal.
During a couple months, yeah, during when we were normal. But it was an interesting season. It was a short season of everything. It was the
The NFL
NBA.
was the only season that actually did the whole thing without a problem before this all started.
Yeah, that's true. Well, they only had training camps and the draft to get through and the combine and stuff like that. They did all that virtually and stuff. They kicked off their season well. Yes, we played football on every single day of the week this year.
Yes, that's never happened.
Last year, never happened. But yeah, they moved everything around. I mean, they're not giving up $60 billion a year
Nope.
not to play football.
Nope.
I mean, football's still the number one sport in America, and they proved that they can operate around a pandemic like this.
Yeah.
They proved they could. I mean, a little bumps in the road here and there, moving games here and there, and they're still on pace. They're still on pace for their Super Bowl to be on time.
Right, for now.
I mean, there may be only a few fans there or something like that at the end, but we'll still be able to watch it on TV, maybe with our family around us or something around that.
Absolutely.
But,
all right, well, that's going to do it because I just got the word that I need to call my brother because he has a football question for me. So,
yeah.
Anyway.
Okay, he has a football question for you.
Yep.
Probably who am I going to start this time?
It's going to be when my aunts get off the phone. When my aunts get off the phone, of course. But all right, that'll probably do it because I think we're out of time anyway.
We had about maybe 2 minutes, but let's wish everybody a happy New Year from the Joe Hill the Sportsman
Joe Hill,
Show.
that's a great name.
Yeah, that was my
nice job, Joe.
Yeah.
Anyway, I hope everybody has a good New Year this year. Let's hope that this is the start of a new beginning. And wherever you go, please be safe. Wear the mask. You don't want to start seeing stuff shut down. And hope everybody got what they wanted for Christmas.
Yeah, hopefully everybody goes for Christmas. I mean, just be safe out there. Let's start 2021
on the right foot,
on the track to normal. Let's
absolutely
get it that way. Let's go back to normal. I mean,
absolutely.
We'll still be here on Zoom and stuff like that, and still be here for you. So
we aren't leaving
going anywhere.
Right now.
Yeah, we ain't going anywhere. So
we're not glued to the seats, but
yeah. Well, you may be glued to your seat, and I may be.
I probably will be, but
yeah.
All right, Joe. Go ahead and do your finish.
All right, this has been the Sportsman Show. I've been your host, Joe Musil. Enjoying the year with you, Coachy.
Yep, thank you. I'm Jason, Coachy the Careless. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. Please keep on watching us on YouTube.
Yep, everything's updated on YouTube.
Finally.
Yep, finally. I don't know what they're on television, but that's television.
Yep, and we will see you guys soon again next week or maybe in a couple of days, pending what's going on. Thanks, everybody.
We'll see you guys. Bye.